Okay, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Yes, it's happening. Another Invicta's on the channel. Everyone, sound the alarm. So with that said, guys, I had to review this one because it is just so cheap and so good. Yes, I said it. It's good, but that's relative to the price. All right, let's not do crazy talk. But this is a very solid dive watch, and for those of you that are out there that maybe don't really care about diving, but like the way dive watches look, this is an amazing option, guys. Invicta, infamous revival brand, originally founded back in 1837, but now not so much known for the heritage, mostly known for the homages. This particular type of watch, though, is a dive watch. Some key common characteristics and design language. You're looking for a diver. Of course, you're going to want water resistance, typically with some type of screw down crown. You're going to want something that's tough, legible with a dive time bezel, and a diver's extension is always nice if on bracelets. Now, this is the Invicta Pro Diver 35844, and it's an automatic diver inspired by the pre-maxi case Submariner, and with that it actually plays off of the Cameron Deep Sea with that cool gradient dial, which, you know, goes from light to dark, but the color and the hue isn't an exact lift. It's actually kind of a lighter and bluer take versus a darker blue that goes into a black. It's more of a light blue that goes into a dark blue, and I can dig it, guys. Once you see this thing as it moves in the light, you'll notice that it actually has even more life. So very, very cool. This thing actually retails, hey, here we go, Invicta retail price $595 MSRP. Will never sell for that, but they're typically found right around $100. In this case, check the links in the description for an Amazon link. They, at the time of recording this, they're like $93, so very cool. So with that said, let's zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. All right, guys, check this piece out. Look at this dial. It actually has like a vertical brush to it, kind of like an under grain, and it helps the light kind of catch in different ways, which I really enjoy. Yes, guys, $93 later, this is where we're at. 40 millimeter diameter, 14 millimeter thickness, not including the date magnifier, probably a little thicker with that. Oh, unsightly side case engraving. People aren't loving that. Let's switch to this side, less aggressive and offensive, but now you'll see signed crown, screw down crown, also quite smudgy thanks to the hot studio lights and a little bit of sweat from my hands. So let's go ahead and give it a quick wipe. I would wear gloves with this to keep it from getting super smudgy, but then if I wore gloves in an Invicta review, people would burn my channel to the ground, so don't want that. So as you can see, really keen on the case design here. It's nothing new. It has, of course, this thinner mid case with more of a bubble back, and then it also, the shape does follow into that rotating 120 click bezel. It has a very simple aluminum insert. You can see there's a Loom pip at 12. Let's see the action. Not the best, but not the worst. Not bad. It lines up, guys. Go figure. No, Seiko, I still love you. I'm not mad. It's just the Invicta can do things, you know, and it has a Seiko movement. So, I mean, okay. So 120 click, Screw down crown. It's signed. That's great. I'm not taking shots at Seiko, I swear. It does have an automatic Seiko Instruments NH35A. It does have a display case back with a bunch of etchings on there that give you more information in terms of this movement. As you can see, that signature neon rotor. Also, you'll see hollow end links and a stamped folding section on the clasp, which is also stamped, but it does have some nice micro adjust options there. So before we get deep into that, let's take a look at this dial. So you get that cool vertically brushed blue fade dial that, you know, has that nice gradual change to it, which is very cool. And you can see even at angles here, you can kind of control the way that it fades. But of course, yeah, this makes you think of the water, right? Yeah, there's the light, bright kind of upper surface level, and then there's the deeper parts of the ocean. So it's cool, man. It speaks to me, even apart from the fact that it kind of looks James Cameron-ish from his what's that, Deep Sea Dweller or something or other. Correct me in the comments below, you bunch of watch idiot savants or WIS community out there, or just the general YouTube police can also feel free to correct me. Someone's gonna say I said Invicta the wrong way. All right, so you get applied indices, polished hands, water resistance up to 200 meters, which is great. 20 millimeter lug width, tapering Orsa style bracelet that's very solid, goes 20 millimeters down to 18. Friction pin connector, so really easy to you know, to adjust, but you know, not the nicest, coolest, or most desirable connecting pin setup, but they work. Fully stamped folding clasp that does have the friction flip lock on there, and yeah, it's a pretty decent piece, guys. Let's actually get it on the wrist right now. All right, guys, as you can see on my 7¼ inch wrist, this thing wears really, really well, just like you'd expect for a 40 millimeter diver. Up close, little lens distortion might make it seem a little oversized, but hey, let's get real. Not everything's a wrist shot. So this thing wears really nicely, and honestly, that 20 millimeter lug width versus, you know, something, let's say from its closest competitor, which would be like an Orient Ray or Mako, even the updated ones that have a hacking hand windable movement, those have 22 millimeter lugs, so this is going to be much more wearable. You can put it in a NATO, and I mean, yeah, it has a bubble back, but hey, let's face it, those Orients aren't super thin either. So yeah, man, you can put this on a tropic strap, you can put it on a, you know, on a NATO, whatever you want. You can put this on it. 20 millimeter lugs, super useful, guys. Very versatile. Looks like a dive watch, for crying out loud. People like dive watches. They just do. But yeah, this thing wears, you know, wears well, guys. Check that out. Not super refined. You can see the taper. You can see that, you know, brushed and polished contrast there. The polished center link. You know, look at that. That's pretty nice. I mean, it's not Zaratsu polished or anything, but you know, there's people that dig that. You know, I'm not necessarily one of them, but again, 93 bucks, $93. Cool. Now you're the watch guy. Everybody's like, what watch should I get? Oh, could I have a watch for my birthday? Come on, guys, $100. Get him this. Oh, this is a great first mechanical watch because you can treat it like absolute. Not gonna go there. You can just mistreat it. Let's leave it at that. You don't have to baby this bad boy. This is not a safe queen. This is not a queen. This is not even a rook. This is a pawn within the diver game, and you can do with what you will. You can sacrifice one if you need to, but maybe it's just to get the Submariner, scratch that itch, get that monkey off your back. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you just want to see how something like that would look on your wrist. Here's the cheapest way to find out. So with all that said, guys, let's actually set up some loom shots, low light transition, and closing thoughts. Okay, let's go ahead and hit the lights here. As you can see, it's a dive watch, yeah, but it has a Seiko movement, but it's not a Seiko. That is not Lumabright, people. It is luminous, but it's just not bright. You can see it's already starting to fade, but one thing I like to do is work in some low light transition when we're working on loom shots, because you're not always going to be out in the middle of the field enjoying direct sunlight. A lot of times you're going to be coming, ooh, look at the way the light hits. Coming in and out of, maybe out of the building, walking underneath an overhang, or just spending time in your favorite automobile. Man, look at that. Light hits. So I like to just get some less than optimal lighting, because you're not always going to be in direct sunlight. And so I even will set up some high contrast lighting here, which typically will expose any type of imperfections. Even in the case of this Invicta that costs less than $100, not a lot in the way of defects to expose. Maybe a little cloudy on some of the polishing, but that's not because they did a bad job. That's because I didn't wipe the watch down too much, because they cost less than $100, so I'm just not really worried about it. Yeah, check that dial out though, guys. Look at the way that it plays, the way that it can hold the light with kind of its matte finish. That is cool, man. I dig that. And then you get into angles like this, which is kind of what you would expect it to look like. But then here, you get into some real magic spots here. Look at that. Look at that little glimmer and sheen with that dial provides. Very, very cool. But let's go ahead and get this back on. Man, that's actually looking like more so just a blue dial that has a little bit of shadow in it naturally, but that's actually the dial design. So, let's see, where were we? On the wrist, where it's just like a classic Invicta 8926 OB, because it's pretty much that, with just a cool new dial. Model variants, guys, endless variations, a lot of different stuff within the Pro Diver line. And then if you just even say, hey, within this case and bezel option and bracelet, how many variants are there? Tons, guys, there's tons. This is the coolest one right now, I gotta say. Coolest one. There's of course the 1953 Big Crown that I reviewed on the channel. That is a cool watch. The dial's a bit big. The dial is a bit big, which makes the watch seem a lot bigger. This small dial makes the watch feel a little bit smaller. So I'll throw that out there, guys. And now, in terms of comparable models, the market is currently saturated with Rolex Submariner inspired divers. It's true. It's true. But there aren't too many of them that are under $100 that offer a hacking hand windable movement from Seiko. So very cool and well played from that standpoint. Bottom line, guys, this is a worthy successor to the universally decent 8926 OB Invicta. Yes, the Invicta that is like a Seiko mod. So many people have reworked those faded bezels, thrown their stuff in coffee to get that dial going and the loom. So there's a lot of meat on the bone there. People enjoy this watch. At least its family. I think you guys should enjoy this particular model now. If you're gonna spend, under $100 on a mechanical dive watch, this is kind of my pick, guys. And like I said, yeah, you can get an Orient, even with hand winding and hacking, is similar price point, but they're gonna have a 22 millimeter lug width. This is 20 more optimal, better. So again, with that said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, please do hit like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.